And now for more on this very story, it's a pleasure to welcome Gidi Grinstein, former peace negotiator under Prime Minister Ehud Barak and author of Insight, Peacemaking in the Oslo Process, 30 years and counting. He joins us from Cyprus. Gidi, thank you so much for your time. You just heard that urgent appeal from families waiting for news. More and more details emerging about these dire conditions in terror captivity, the torture, the starvation, the psychological torment as well. Those images of Eli Sharabi, Or Levi and Ohad Ben-Ami on the weekend are going to be etched in our hearts forever. What was your response? How did you feel looking at those images?
It was horrendous. The whole scene that was staged in Gaza, in which these hostages that really looked like, images that reminded us of very dark periods in our past. They were staged in order to demonstrate the force of Hamas, that Hamas is actually there, Hamas is in power, Hamas is controlling Gaza, and Hamas is basically poking in the eyes of Prime Minister Netanyahu and the government, and also the Trump administration, saying we're here and we are here to stay. So that is actually very bad news for the prospects of getting to the second phase of the deal, because it is in a direct conflict with the story that the government of Israel has been selling the Israeli public about absolute victory, nitzachon muchlat. That's obviously right now not happening. So it is bad news. It was horrendous, but also very difficult to see from the strategic side. I'm very concerned about the next phase of the deal.
Donald Trump says that these men look like Holocaust survivors. President Isaac Herzog is talking about a crime against humanity. Why, though, doesn't this put more pressure on everybody involved to get to the next phase of the deal? Israel, the nation, can't carry on looking, knowing that people, innocent civilians, abducted from a music festival, from their homes, woken up, taken out of their beds, and have been held in these dire conditions for all this time. How does the nation deal knowing that this is continuing? Surely this should put more pressure on those involved to get to the next phase.
This is really, we're in an unfolding historical moment from the perspective of Zionism. And sorry for taking a step back in order to take a step forward. In 1936, the leadership of the Zionist movement agreed that in order to have a democratic Jewish state in the land of Israel, there has to be a division of the land between the Jewish people and the Arab people. And that since that moment, the Zionist movement from the political perspective went from strength to strength, to the UN General Assembly Resolution of 1947, Jewish state, Arab state, to the UN General Security Council Resolution 242 that recognized the victory of 1940. The agreement with Egypt, the agreement with Jordan, one success after another in fortifying the Zionist project and securing a space for the Jewish people to exercise its right for self-determination. In December 2022, a new approach came into power in Israel, in which the goal is annexation, to extend the sovereignty of Israel over the West Bank and Gaza, and then since October 7, also in Gaza. So to answer your question, phase 2 of the deals, for everybody here that will read the details of phase 2, it's actually about ideology, because in phase 2 of the deal, what is required of the Israeli government is actual knowledge that the permanent control of Gaza will be in the hands of Palestinians. Even if you look at the conditions that the government is considering right now, which many people say that these are conditions that are designed to block the deal, to exile the leadership of Hamas, to terminate the military capabilities of Hamas, to free all the hostages. The government of Israel will not say that after Hamas does all that, that the Palestinian Authority or some others, Palestinian self-governing, can come in and take the place of Hamas. Basically the same principle of Lebanon. The agreement with Lebanon expects the government of Lebanon to take over the security responsibility from Hezbollah. Right. So we're not even doing that in Gaza. And therefore, because it's ideological, we're getting to a moment where the entire ideology hinges of the far right in this government, hinges on the second part of the deal. And this is why the second part of the deal is much bigger than an exchange between hostages and prisoners and further realignment of the in Gaza and all these other things. The second part of the deal is about the future of the ideology of the far right in the government. And that's why you're seeing these actually incredible clash of vision about what to do in the coming few weeks.
Talking about what to do in the next few weeks, Donald Trump doubling down on a plan for what he's calling permanent relocation for Palestinians, saying no right of return to Gazans under his plan. He was speaking to Fox News, and his reasoning is because they're going to have a much better housing plan and system in the next location. We know the reaction so far to this plan. What do you make of his strategy coming out of the White House as we speak?
So basically now we have three visions for the day after in Gaza. First of all, everybody has to notice Donald Trump also insists that Gaza will be American, which means that the government of Israel will need to hand over Gaza to the Americans at some point. The far right of the Israeli government will not give it to the United States. It will not give it to the Palestinians. It will not give it to anybody. So I don't see how the vision of the far right in Israel converges with the vision of Trump. But let's just say, as Prime Minister Netanyahu said today, that there is now a vision for the day after in which the U.S. owns Gaza and builds some Riviera there for everybody. This is option one. Option two is that we work with moderate Palestinians in the Palestinian Authority. We build the capabilities and they take over Gaza and they manage Gaza, which is option two. And option three is that we control Gaza. Israel takes over and manages Gaza directly through a civil administration. And of course, option four is that Hamas stays in Gaza. Everybody rules out option four. So we're looking at three options. Is this realistic to expect that Israel will push out without an agreement? There will not be an agreement according to this vision between Israel and Jordan or between Israel and Egypt. Israel will push out 2 million Palestinians from Gaza. I think it's totally unrealistic. And not only that, it's potentially absolute, it really friction with massive war crimes here. And that would create further disruption within Israel and rupture within the military forces and the security forces. I think the vision of Trump is creates the danger of unrealistic expectations within our government and within the politicians. And that these unrealistic expectations may prevent the second part of the deal, may prevent a ceasefire in Gaza and basically an approach that is as difficult, but at least realistic, of working together with a moderate Palestinian partner in Gaza.
Complicated indeed. Many questions remain. Always appreciate your insights. Gidi Grinstein in Cyprus, thank you very much for being with us on i24 News. Thank you.